Life. I am Precious Chukuli. We'll be with the front pages of the papers. Starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Wike, Edun, Oyetola, el-RUFAI, Edu, others on Tinibu's ministerial list. Writer says Latif Fagbemi tipped for AGF position. Tinibu sends list of 43 nominees today. And we can see a photo story showing Tinibu hosts Benin's President Talon. And on page 5, fuel subsidy. Federal government begs as NLC issues August 2nd nationwide strike notice. NLC gives the federal government 7 days to revert anti-poor policies. Niger, Tinubu, Buhari, Biden, UN, EU, AU, ECOWAS, France reject coup. Federal varsities remain tuition free, and that's coming from the presidency. You can see that on page 25. Patients stranded as resident doctors begin strike. You can see that on page 8. Stories above. Net forex inflow into economic falls 2% to $7.28 billion. On page 11, Senate demands Ekpa's extradition as Ohanaeze moves against Dokubo. ISWA beheads 21 headsmen in Borno for ignoring ban on cattle rearing others. And on page 9, NBA berates DSS MPS for engaging in fisticuffs over Emefiele. All right, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with 60 days after Tinibu toes familiar part as ministers may not resume till September. And of course, we have a photo story showing the road to 100 days, fuel subsidy removal, Nigeria waits for palliatives. On page 5, NLC insists on August 2nd nationwide protests over rising hardship, anti-poor policies. NBA Ubani Falana orders knock DSS over disgraceful conduct. NANS give government 7 days ultimatum to rescind fee hike in higher institution. One killed, others injured as traders protest over sealed shop in Enugu. Stories above, we have Nigeria others risk losing US market over uneven agua utilization. You can see that on page 15. Niger coup, ECOWAS global communities won't tolerate a threat to democracy, says Tinubu. Lastly, on the front page of The Guardian, ISWAP targets headers, kills 27 in Borno. Well, let's take a look at The Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with el-RUFAI, Wike, Oyetola, Alake, Fagbemi makes ministers list. Edun, Pate, Adelabu, Beta Edu, also nominated by President. APC NEC May Oke Ganduje Bashiru, August 3rd. Why I Quit NWC by Lukman. You can read more on page 5. We reject threat to democracy in Niger Republic, says Tinubu. Restore constitutional order, says ECOWAS, UN, AU, US, EU, others. Stories above strike, give government more time. President tells Labour. We will protest August 2nd, says NLC. Notice contempt of court. Federal varsities remain tuition free, says the presidency. And lastly, on the front page of The Nation, American proposes a marriage to Chibok girl in US. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with Tinubu pleads for more time as NLC issues strike notice. Right, it says presidency meets NLC TUC over palliative delay. Labour insists on Wednesday protest. President doctor strike grounds hospital. Federal government will enforce a court order against Labour. Also, we can see Niger president supporter protest. AU, ECOWAS condemn coup plot. Daredevil daylight robbers return to Lagos streets. You can see that on pages 4 and 5. Musa, why I sell fuel at 580 naira per litre. On page 12, mass burial, hashtag NSAS coalition demand DNA mapping and compensation. Stories above, National Assembly to unveil ministerial list today. That's coming from Akpabio's aide. On page 7, IPOB, Senate to work for Ekpa's extradition, kills pro-Kanu motion. APC crisis deepening as Lukman resigns, blames presidency, and that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining me, still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Oludare Mayowa, publisher of Global Financial Digest. Good morning, sir. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Good morning. Nice to be here today.
All right, let's delve into what we have this morning. And of course, we've been anticipating the president's ministerial nominee list. And according to reports, he's expected to send in the list today. And we've heard that the president, has also accommodated some leaders of the PDP to show some form of national unity. What are your thoughts, actually, in terms of the delay and why we're now at the last minute waiting for the president to drop his ministerial nominee list?
Thank you very much. Because we have been having speculation about the president submitting his list last week. Some people have submitted that they have submitted it to the National Assembly. We will have it on Monday. But this is Thursday. We are still waiting for it. And today is 60 day of his, after his resumption of office. That means if he did not, if he failed to submit the list today, we will be in the breach of the Constitution. I'm sure probably he's going to do all his part to engage to ensure that the list is submitted. We are still waiting. We are going to be waiting. Many people are actually speculating that probably because of some major reform he has carried out, that President probably has beaten more than he can shield in terms of the hardship that have been visited on the people as a result of the policy reforms in the downstream sectors, in the monetary policy sector, in terms of foreign exchange. Probably that was probably has caused distraction to the president. People are still speculating on that. But notwithstanding, we believe if he submit today, he will be barely escaping the constitutional breach, which is not probably a good sign for him. Because people actually believe that he will have submitted his list 2 weeks after he resumed office. But now we are finding ourselves in this situation. Concerning the speculation of the name of the list, for me personally, I would rather hold the barrel first to know whether those names are real or are genuine. Probably we have had so much speculation of names, change of names in the last couple of weeks. So I'll probably wait till the National Assembly announce the list, authentic list, so that I can know whether those names are genuine or mere speculation, or probably are being pushed by the lobbyists to force the hand of the government to change direction.
All right, moving on. The federal government has also asked Labour has asked Labour to shelve their planned strike for next week Wednesday, and of course it's been 60 days since the new administration started, and all we've heard and seen are just policies, and the government has not implemented any form of palliative still. Although the federal government are saying that they are yet to roll out palliatives because they didn't want to make any mistakes. So how do you react to this?
Unfortunately, it shows that the government the policy were not well thought out. But what we're expecting for a president who has been preparing to be president for many years, and who struggled to become president, and who probably assure himself that going to become president, will have assembled his experts to actually look at the pros and the cons and the impact the assessment of the impact on the masses, on the people. And from what I have seen, that they announced the policy of, for example, they remove the first subsidy, no following up of this is what's going to be the impact on the people. This is how we're going to ameliorate the impact on the people. The same thing for the foreign exchange policy. Yeah, this policy has been lauded by people because they are timely, they are much expected policy, but the government refused to follow the process. There are process to every policy, and if you don't follow the process, you get a negative consequence of it. And that's what we are seeing today, why it's affecting all the sector of the economy. So for the labor to have waited this long, for me, is they have exercised enough patience for the government, who they have been waiting to do something to mitigate the impact on the people. And the government seems to have been slow in responding. Why is it slowing? It shows that the policies were not well thought out. It shows that the government has not really considered the masses, considered the people as a result of the policy they are initiating. So for me, if Labour decide to go on strike next week, I won't blame them, because I'm sure they are under pressure from their members who are facing the pains of the repercussion of the policy. So if they decide to go to strike tomorrow, then they are all well and good.
All right. In a time when Nigerians feel suffocated by the untold hardship that this administration has started to melt out without even considering palliatives before they rolled out some of these policies, What else do you think that the Nigerian people can actually be looking out for? Because it's really a very tough time. I mean, if you go out on the streets, we can see that people have long faces. They're extremely depressed. They don't know what they're like. The experience, I'm sure that each of us have our own experiences wherever we are. And so, what should the Nigerian people really be looking out for? Because it seems that all we're just hearing is empty promises. It would come, it will come. There's a little you can do in terms of when someone keeps telling you that we're hungry and they've been telling you they've been hungry for over 60 days and you're not doing anything about it. You're saying you're trying to avoid mistakes, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, I was first of all yesterday. I went to I was in the island yesterday, and the whole place seemed to be empty. On the road, the traffic was so slow. From my place to where it's like 40 minutes. Begin to wonder what was going on. That's a place you see heavy traffic in those days. On the streets, there are fewer people on the street today. It shows the level of pains people are going through. And I know many people are already doing their own belt tightening. They are already reducing their costs. Many people are not taking their cars on the road. They are not because they can't buy for it. They want to reduce their costs on petrol and the rest. And people are eating less because of the high cost of food. These are the measures the government, but there's a limit to how they can tighten the belt. Because the belt was already tightened prior to this administration. Now they are tightening them more unless you want to squeeze them to death. So government need to wake up and to recognize that they need to move fast. There's no time for this government to respond to what is challenges that people are facing. They were elected to take care of the people, to take care of the people of this country. That's the evidence. I mean, the signs of a good governor. I think people are going through these challenges and government just lay back and not doing anything about it. There's something is wrong and it can boil over. I was saying something, this thing can boil over, and I don't pray that such should happen. But the government is not taking, government is not moving fast. We don't know what can happen next because people are already going through prayer. Everywhere you go today, you see people going through excruciating pain as the impact of this policy are biting hard on people. So government need to move fast. Well, I'm sure the masses are already tightening their bed. They're already cutting costs, but there's a limit to how you can cut the cost. And news people offices who are now arranging themselves to come to office 30 times in a week. So I need some of those tightening measures. But how far and how long can these things continue? Government need to see the urgency in responding and do it fast.
All right, Labour is also asking for the immediate, reversal of all policies, including the recent hike in petrol. The question is, how feasible is it? And also, will the government not get another court injunction, stopping the Labour from embarking on strike? Because that was what happened the last time.
Yeah, I anticipate that they will go to court again and say stop them from going to strike. But again, there's a little you can do for a person who is hungry, and you can say have control over them. And I mean, for me, that's why I say the government need to, beyond those legalities and the rest, they need to move fast to pacify this labor, pacify the Nigerian people so that it can calm the situation down. I will not support the reversal of the policy because it will take a lot of time to restart the economy going forward and going to cause a lot of mess in the system. What government should actually do is to do correctional measure. It does correctional measure in such a way that yes, we are doing this thing and because the government has sent so much money from foreign exchange differences that moved from 470 to naira to over to saving close to $800. So the gap they are being accrued to the revenue accrued to the government, and the amount they are saving from subsidy equally has come to the past of government. Because I know that the fact is on the last month was very heavy. So it's the same part of this money they are saving that are coming to him. But what are they doing with those money? That money has to be poured back to the system, has to be injected back to the system to ensure that they mitigate the policy, the impact on the people. That's what people are expecting. No, reversing the policy is not, for me, it's not the ideal thing. And I will not advise Labour to pursue that road. But Labour are not left with any other option but to call for that. It is left for the government to say, no, this policy cannot be reversed. What we need to do is to mitigate the system and mitigate the effect. And they ought to do that urgently. That's what I'm saying. They have to do that urgently so that the whole thing will not boil over.
All All right, still speaking about strike, of course, we're aware that resident doctors have also embarked on strike, and just saying that the government is yet to, get them in a meeting. And why is it that, you know, I mean, we know the dangers in the declaration of strikes. Why is it the only language that the government actually understands?
First of all, we have to recognize that this government is not properly constituted in the sense that there is no cabinet member. Because what we see running, just what we see running the ministry and the MDs is the permanent secretary. They don't have the political will, they don't have the political authority to actually make a firm commitment to labor and the rest. So for labor, they will not trust these people with any decision because they cannot make any decision unless you have the minister and the rest in place. So this government is not running on a full low end. That's why you have to realize that. And for effect, we are seeing medical the doctors are on strike. Other sector of the economy might to the same line if government is not responding fast to the situation and the challenges we are facing in this country today. And that's why I'm urging the government to move fast. The only solution to this challenge we are facing today is that government to come out fast and introduce effective palliative that will cushion the effect on the people. People who are hungry, they won't listen to any language. They won't listen to any persuasion. They won't listen to any grammar from government. What they are looking for is that they want to eat, and the food must be available to them. And the only way government can make this available is that to cushion effect, pushing more mass transit, ensure that transport, food are released to the system to douse the pressure, to douse the tension. These are the only way the government can do. Otherwise, we have all manner of association group going on strike and stay back at home. If that's the only resort that's the only weapon they have in their hands. And they will defy any law in doing that. That's why the government should move fast. And that's what we can to tell the government should move fast, irrespective, regardless of the decision we have today. Whoever is in government, the advisor, whatever it is, the president should move fast to calm the system.
All right, moving on. The Senate and Ohanaeze has also, condemned the sit at home as well as in the first demonstration of Simon Ekpa, who has also called. They've also called on the federal government to collaborate with the Finnish government to extradite him for prosecution. How do you react? Also, in Enugu, I saw that the governor has even gone ahead as to even put stickers on shops that have refused to be open as a result of trying to defy this whole sit at home. How do you respond?
The Enugu government was not going the right way. If people in the face of danger, I don't want people to risk their life because they want to open their shop, because they want to disobey government. Government is not going the right way. As government provide enough security for these people that if they open their shop, they'll be secure from these marauders. He has not done that. He's only threatening the people who are innocent, who don't carry arms, who cannot protect themselves. The governor should ensure that he protect the right security surveillance to ensure that these people are causing panic, who are causing trouble in that place, are brought to book. That's the first measure you should do. Not that you just close the shop for people who want people to risk their life. We have seen footages of where these IPOB people are killing people who open their shop. So who will protect them? So government has not done the right thing. And secondly, for Ohanaeze, I think the right way to go is to government need to actually put that guy calling to order. You stay in the finance, you are causing trouble in Nigeria. Why can't Nigeria begin to negotiate with the Finnish counterpart and say, hey, this man is staying in your country and causing trouble in our land here. Can you repatriate him or can you put him to order? That's what government should do. And we are, of course, by that, government is encouraging militias group to spring up. We have seen the footage of Dokubo parading army, private army in a country that have laws. And because he's a friend of the president, nothing is being done. DSS has not moved into the camp and arrest these people. Then what we are going to see, are going to see the multiplication of this military group across the nation. Because if you are not taking precaution against one, then other people will follow suit, and there will be a breaking down of law and order in the country. So the government has to respond swiftly to this threat to security of this country in a manner that is no prejudice to fairness.
All right, let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. before we go. And of course, Mrs. is speaking this morning, and then she says, why the fuss? She said you are very hungry, and I served the food. And Mr. says, is that why you sell fufu of this size? This is what they call making a mountain out of a molehill.
The man you realize clearly that the economy is hard. We have to make use of what is available and without complaining.
All
But
right.
that was a good one for them too, as usual.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Darimaiwa, publisher of Global Financial Digest. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
Thanks for having me today and have a lovely day and regards to everyone behind the scene.
Yeah. Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find up-to-date stories, go to our website, www.vanguardindia.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.